Hi guys, this is a Logic language video, which is a request video. Well, rather, I've had a question and I'm going to answer it from Anthony. My normal camera is not working at the moment, so I hope, apologise for the rather scruffy nature of these videos, but I'm just getting the answers out there. So, Anthony Hudson, who has a very cool photograph, sends me this question. Whilst I have your attention, do you have any videos in your series about hearing French? So what do you recommend for training, hearing and listening comprehension? Background, : I recently visited France and found my ear for French sucks, despite having absolute competence speaking, understanding and reading basic to intermediate French. So first things first, Anthony, well done for referring to the idea of training, because that is really the main thing here. People seem to think when it comes to listening and hearing French that that it's going to automatically happen by osmosis, that if you just improve your general knowledge of French, your general knowledge of the vocab, your general knowledge of the grammar, that your listening will get better. And for the very first couple of weeks that you're working in French, that will happen to a degree, okay? But it isn't automatic, and you can absolutely spot train several things. So I'm going to run through some points, and if you could let me know how this works for if this works for you, Anthony, and anybody else that does this, okay? This works for whether you are a complete beginner or whether you are pretty advanced but want to be bilingual. Okay, it works for everybody. Right, just check this camera's good. So, point number one. Speak the way you want to listen. What that means is work on the elements of your own speech, and that will train your brain to do the vector. That will train your brain to work out the difference between what you sort of visualize and imagine the sentence to be and the actual sound that happens. So let's talk about some of the elements we want in our speech in French, that using these regularly is going to help our brain hear French sound in that way. So the first one, Anthony, is to join up all the words. So when you learn a language, you go word by word, you are trying to make the sentence work, and that's fine, it's your second language, and obviously you're thinking of the next word, you know, possibly sometimes with some difficulty. When you've come out with a sentence, say that sentence again all joined up. So if you're like, je vais parler avec Luc, yay, then make the point of going, je vais parler avec Luc. Join it up. French sentences are like French words. It's all joined up. Okay? Je vais parler avec Luc. So what does this mean? This means that the end of one word is the start of the next word. You should categorically not play around with that. If you need to take a pause because you're thinking of what the next word is, whether because you're not sure of what you're going to say or you're not sure what the bloody word is, then use either remain on the previous word or use an sound. So, alors moi je vais parler en français. You know, I'm going to speak in French. Or je vais parler en français. I kind of like both of those techniques at different times. All right? If you don't do this, you will never learn to fuse the words together, and consequently, when people speak to you with the liaison, with the joined up, you will not like it. You absolutely will not like it. Your ear will be like, I can't understand anything. Okay? As you're finding out. Point number two, you absolutely in your speaking need to focus on vowels. The vowel is king, so you need to do the vowel journey method. So that means take a word, château, ao, maison, ayant, mirror, miroir, aura. You need to say the word, and then more words, and then more words, where you are only saying the consonant, sorry, the vowel, Anthony, okay? Because otherwise you want the word to be bookended by really strong consonants, and we just don't have that in French. Yeah. So in other words, I'm going to speak to you. Je vais te parler. You need to practice hearing sentences and words on the vowel. So that would mean making sure that the vowels are fucking brilliant. Okay. So that means watch the video that I will put underneath when I get my laptop back on where the vowels are. I, U, E. Yes, and make sure each vowel is a vibration, so that when you just get a jumble, you might just think there's no quality there, but there is. Alors moi je l'ai fait. You're hearing a sequence of vowels, okay? And once you start training your ear to listen to vowels, you will find French listening absolutely so much more doable. If you want to wait, if you're waiting around for je l'ai fait, you're not going to get it, all right? Next point, keep your mouth reasonably closed. If you're having to do all of this big stuff in your mouth to say you're French, you know, je vais vous parler, it's not how French works. Keep your mouth nice and light. Alors moi je vais vous parler. Je vais vous parler. So if I come in quite closely, so this is me talking English. Teeth whitening long overdue. So, hi, my name is Luke. You can see me talking like this. Okay, I'm possibly exaggerating a little bit, but you can see these lines here when I'm speaking. Alors, effectivement, je vais te parler en français. Tu vois, si tu regardes ma bouche, j'ai pas besoin d'ouvrir la bouche de la même. You don't need to open your mouth in the same degree in French, all right? So practice doing that, because no one is going to do that back to you. No one is going to be, oui, bonjour, Anthony. Est-ce que tu veux? You know, no. So practice keeping this soft and listening to the join. Next thing, practice your French with emotion. Say a sentence. He did it. He did it for me. Il l'a fait pour moi. Say it happily. Oh, il l'a fait pour moi. Say it resentfully. Oh, il l'a fait pour moi. Practice saying sentences with emotion, and you will hear. You'll get used to hearing emotion, because a lot of the time when people speak to you, or you're listening to their conversation, there is emotion involved, which is going to distort and alter the voice. So you need to get used to that in your own voice. Okay, you need to get used to that in your own voice. Okay, so those are things that you should be doing in your own voice work: the vowels, the vibration, the joined up, the nice diaphragm, lots of air coming through. That if you do that in your own speaking, already you're practicing your listening being better. Now let's talk about a couple of things that you can be doing to accelerate this process. So understand the difference between listening and comprehension, and the two are very different. When you start listening to somebody, often you'll be pulled in to a word that you know in the sentence, and then you won't get the rest of the sentence because you were too busy trying to work out the bit that you knew. So in other words, practice the hearing and then play with the comprehension in your own brain. So a great game for this would be to, either with one of my videos or somebody else's videos, watch a video, or Netflix or what have you, watch a section of French, just repeat the French. So for example, my name's Luc, moi je m'appelle Luc, comment tu vas, qu'est-ce que tu vas faire aujourd'hui, qu'est-ce que tu vas faire aujourd'hui. Don't even think what it means, don't even care what it means, don't even care what it means. Just practice that you can successfully recreate the sound. Because if we played that game in English and I asked you to copy me, just try copying me now, all of you. Say what I say. Hi, my name is Luc. I'm a French teacher. I live in London. I used to live in Paris. You could copy me all quite successfully, okay? So don't be 100% obsessed with, you know, translating live. If you can practice copying, you've then got it in your brain in a sort of mental copy-paste for a little bit longer to play with, all right? Next point. Be very mindful that we don't put the stresses on certain words, and I've done a video on this, and when my laptop is back and I can edit these videos, I will give you that, Anthony. But basically certain words are not stressed. There's a whole video on which words get stressed. Not all words are equal. It doesn't matter how quickly someone is speaking, we are never going to stress an auxiliary, we are never going to stress a preposition, we are never going to stress and so a lot of the time things that you've worked on grammatically, and you should be proud of yourself for knowing them, you will be stressing them. So, j'avais pris. People love to say this to me. Yay, look, I did a plus que parfait. We don't say that. We say j'avais pris. I'm happy to do it. Je suis content de le faire. Did you see what I did there, Luke? Did you see the preposition I used? People speak like this. Normally in French, je suis content de le faire. So prepositions won't get stressed. So watch this video. I'm not going to go over it again now. I will try and find it and attach it underneath. It's which words you stress in French, because you will never hear certain words stressed, and you need to learn those rhythms and those cadences, or you're going to miss a hell of a lot. Okay, you're going to miss a hell of a lot. Something else you can do. Try listening to dubbed content. It's just that little bit clearer. If it's dubbed content where that means an American or a British TV show that someone has or Canadian that someone has dubbed in French, the quality of that dubbing, sound editing wise, is often just a little bit tighter in the mouth, a little bit clearer, and that will just be a nice halfway house between you and full, you know, untouched French. Okay. My next thing is to watch. Absolutely opposite advice is to watch haul videos. Haul videos, H-A-U-L, are when dumbasses come back from the shops and the stores and go, hey, I bought this today, I bought this today. And it is the best thing you can find. It is largely female, adolescent or under 25, talking about what crap they bought from a shop. Or men talking about training. So I'm not saying women can't successfully train in weightlifting, of course they can, or I'm not saying men don't go to the shops, but you just tend to get more of them. So if you just try and find some French weightlifting dude who's talking about his training and he's just talking candidly to camera, you want to listen to a source of French, which is how we speak. Absolutely. Just play, just lie on your back, close your eyes, don't try and translate it, just lie there and listen to the melody of what's being said, and your sole goal is to try and follow the vowels. So listen to a section of 30 seconds, don't keep listening to more and more and more, listen to the same minute or the same 30 seconds. Listen to it once. Listen to it again, trying to work out which vowels are involved. Listen to it again, trying to work out what the melody is. So don't confuse a melody with a vowel. So the melody would mean the note would go higher, lower. That's the melody, that's the tonal note, as opposed to the vowel going higher or lower. E. So there's a natural tendency to go higher in the note when you go higher with the vowel. So for example, E as opposed to oo, but I could do it on the same note. La 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 la, e, oo, oo, oo. Yeah, it's not about the note, okay? I could do a low one, e, oo. So it's not about the musical note, but listen to the melody first. Then listen to where the vibration is. Don't be worried about consonant. As a first language English speaker, your brain will just hear the consonants, okay? But they're not there for you. That's not what's going to give you the French, okay? So that would be a nice training exercise for you to get that. If you focus on these things, I swear your French will go through the freaking roof. If you've got a basic knowledge of the French that's involved, that will be fine. My only other thing would be to make sure you practice at speed pronominal, reflexive style sentences. So make sure you're comfortable with je me suis, tu, t'es, il, c'est, nous, nous sommes, vous, vous êtes, il, se sont. Make sure you're comfortable putting those in different tenses. Je m'étais, tu t'étais, il s'était, nous, nous étions, vous étiez, il s'était, or je me serais, tu te serais, il se serait, nous, nous serions. So make sure you are good with what I call the poetry past. So you can use a person, their reflexive, and the auxiliary, and then a past tense, past participle. Because that shit is so much more present in French than half of you realise. Then practice that again with an en or an i in there with all the tenses. So for example, je me suis, tu t'es, il s'est, nous nous sommes, vous êtes, ils se sont. Je m'y suis, tu t'y es, il s'y est, or je m'en suis, tu t'en es, il s'en est, or je m'en serai, tu t'en serais. So practice that, all right? Practice those. That really will give you such a head start for hearing grammar. My final thing would be to make sure that you are a little bit more booked up on French slang and French colloquial expressions and idioms. And there's loads of videos I've done on that on this channel. Because half the time, if people don't get what's being said, it's because it's a bit slangy. Yeah, so instead of work, instead of boulot, we've got, instead of travail, we've got boulot, instead of maison, we've got baraque, instead of sister, we've got frangine, instead of clothes, we've got fringue, that kind of thing. Make sure that you're a little bit up on slang as well, all right? Don't despair, don't give up. The fact that you're noticing your reading and your writing are stronger than your listening is a great thing, because it means the one's got quite strong. It just means you've been a little bit visual. If I'm honest, that's the final point I'd make, is do not visualise. Whenever you do any work, do not visualise. This happens. Yeah, people are trying to visualise the sentence that they can hear. And I can always tell when I start with a new client, they do this. I'll give them a sentence and they'll go, and they're trying to visualise it. That won't help, because then when someone's speaking to you, you are endeavouring to transcribe the words that you're hearing. You're trying to work it out visually. Work it out on sound. Yeah, a cognate. If you learn a new word, what's this? This is crème. This isn't crème, which means cream. This is crème, which means crème. This is, what's this? A pullover. Yeah, this isn't pullover, which means, jumper or pullover. It just, pullover. I mean, okay, that was a dumb example. It was an English word. But that is what I would want for you, okay? Enjoy.